Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk you through your Mockingbird homework from chapters 22 through 25, which is what I've got open here. And all of you asked me for different questions, so I figured I would just talk you through every single question. Sorry if that noise is Gus on my shoulder. So, number one, Miss Molly defines progress as baby steps. She says it's a big deal because Atticus managed to keep the jury debating for 2 hours, and she says no other lawyer could possibly have done that in such a racist tone. So it's a sign of progress that Atticus managed to make it not an open and shut case. Okay, 2 was just asking you for your opinion. Number 3, all the way down. Okay, so how do you explain Atticus's decision not to defend himself? Well, he says that he does it because he doesn't want to play into Bobule's hands, and because he doesn't really take Bobule seriously. And you guys will have to decide what you think about that. Basically, he's being his usual gentlemanly self. He doesn't want to be like Bobule. Okay. So number 4, Atticus says that the men in the jury are acting without thinking in accordance with their customs, and that the stereotypes and customs they have in their head are too strong that they can't even, they will not overturn the custom because that's too scary, even though all the facts are against it. Jem wants to fix the problem by changing the law, as in allowing women and other people to sit on juries. Atticus wants to fix it by slow steps and talking to neighbors and building bridges, kind of the way he's been trying to do all week. He says you have to change men's hearts. All right, so then Jem finds out that one of the jurors is a Cunningham, and Jem is shocked because the Cunninghams were at the jail the night before. And Atticus says that he thought he used his brain and he used his heart and he figured out. And he says that people can be persuaded by time and conversation and slowly learning. Okay? Then, moving down. Okay. Jem concludes that Boo Radley stays inside because he wants to, because Jem has realized how unjust his society is, and therefore he thinks that Boo Radley must be trying to avoid all the injustice and prejudice. The fact that Jem says this about Boo Radley, he's really putting his own thoughts and feelings onto Boo Radley. Okay? Moving down. Okay. The ladies in the missionary circle. I think this is a very funny scene, but it's also a bit distressing. Okay, they are all about, their hearts are on fire to help this tribe in Africa, this Maruna tribe, right? They want to bring them food and education and all kinds of good things, and they're totally on board with this. Now, keep in mind, if this is an African tribe, the people there are dark-skinned or black. And so, what you see is that the ladies can be open and charitable and kind to black people who are not in their own town, who are exotic and different, but are incredibly prejudiced against their own homegrown African Americans. Little bit of irony there. In number 10, Miss Monty is referring to Atticus, of course, because one of the ladies has insulted Atticus for or has said something critical about Atticus for defending Tom Robinson, and Miss Monty points out that it's incredibly rude to insult the man whose food you are eating. Also, she's pointing out that the ladies are hypocrites. And Alexander is thankful for this because that gets the sort of, that allows, Aunt Alexandra can't stick up for Atticus and offend her guest because she's the host, but Miss Monty can do it. So, moving on. Okay. So the qualities of a good Christian. Well, what do you think? Someone who gives charity, someone who is on top of things, someone who's helping the less fortunate is probably what I would say they think it is. And a good citizen is someone who follows the laws of the town. Now notice that our definition of Christian is a bit wider than someone who just gives charity and is kind to the less fortunate. Because they have this huge blind spot about the African Americans in their town, right? They are not acting like good Christians. Because being a good Christian also means, as Atticus would say, trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes, trying to see them with God's eyes, trying to love them as God would love. And the ladies of the missionary circle are, by and large, except for Miss Monty, and possibly Aunt Alexandra, fairly racist and close-minded. Okay. A couple of you asked me a few more questions about the Maruna tribe. It's in the whole incident with the missionary circle is in there to show us the irony that these people who are so solicitous and wanting to help so much the poor lost Africans on their home soil will not help or give respect to the African Americans in their own town. And also to show us sort of how limited the missionary circle's view of faith and being a good person is, so that we can compare them with Atticus, who has, of course, a much wider view. Okay. So the town of Macomb basically responds to Tom's death. This is number 12. By saying that, it's his fault for running. They blame him. They do not blame themselves. They do not think about how it's the town's fault that it's the jury's fault and Bob Yule's fault that Tom Robinson is in prison for a crime he didn't commit in the first place. Okay. 13. Okay, so when Scout is talking about the secret courts in Mentard, she's thinking about the biases and the judgments that we all make internally that sometimes don't have a lot to do with facts or with knowledge, or even with our own faith. So Tom Robinson had a fair trial according to the letter of the law, according to what the law said, right? It was fair. All due process was followed, all the right procedures, everything was fair. But because the jury did not vote against their own customs and overcome their racism, in the court of their hearts, he was guilty as soon as Mr. Yule as Mr. Yule accused him, and he didn't stand a chance. So I think that this is one of the moments when Scout is showing that she's growing up, because she understands that that there are multiple sides to every person. Okay. And that was 13. Some of you asked me about 17 and 18, but I don't see a 17 and 18 on here. I wonder if you meant that for the next assignment. If you had a question that I didn't answer, or if you still don't really get it, give me a shout out on Formative or in an email. And the thing to notice from these chapters is just is the irony about the missionary circle, and is the fact that Scout 2 is finally starting to articulate the racism in Macomb. Okay? Thanks. Bye.